Coming up, the 40th edition of Independence Morning. Highlights from the milestone coming up. Also ahead, why the People's Rush was a special personal moment for the Prime Minister. And the name the latest Arawak Homes developments will bear. The National Report starts now.
Now in HD. ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight. This segment of the news is brought to you by BTC, powered by Lime.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Keishla Adderley, and happy Independence Day to all of you. Topping the news tonight, 40 years ago, the Bahamian flag of black, aquamarine, and gold was hoisted, marking the birth of a nation. This time around, July 10th met overcast skies and intermittent rain, but it couldn't dampen the celebratory spirit of thousands of Bahamians who turned out last night to mark the country's independence anniversary. Our Andrew Knowles was there to capture it all.
The flag's ascension Wednesday morning signaled the country's 40th anniversary of independence. A sea of black, gold, and aquamarine covered historic Clifford Park, with thousands of proud Bahamians looking on as the flag was hoisted. Then there was cake and fireworks, followed by an all-star Bahamian concert to mark the occasion. But prior to that, things kicked off with an ecumenical service where attendees heard from Christian Council President Reverend Ranford Patterson, who says while the Bahamas is fortunate, far too many people are still ungrateful.
No matter how much God bless us in this country, we still find reasons to complain. We are not satisfied with the provisions that God has given us. None of us. God has been good to the Bahamas. He has blessed this place. We are indeed a blessed people.
And as the journey continues, Reverend Patterson called on all Bahamians to embrace this new beginning with new hopes and new possibilities. He shared his vision for a new Bahamas moving forward.
I see a church where its leaders are more committed to God than to their political parties. I see family units being strengthened, where more fathers are involved in their children's lives. I see a Bahamas where the laws of the land are enforced in every area of our Bahamas.
It's become the highlight of the independence celebrations each year, a cultural infusion of Bahamian music, colors and dance, and the ritual pomp and pageantry. And Bahamians, both young and old, and tourists alike, enjoyed every minute of it.
My first time in the 40 years, I love it. I love the experience, I love the colors, and the excitement.
It's great, it's wonderful, it's well organized, a lot of cultural dancing to take us back to our roots.
I get to learn about my culture and how the story goes on and on.
It's really, really good.
I mean, it's beautiful celebrations, very jubilant. I love all the people and all the food. It's been really fun.
40 years after the Union Jack was lowered, there were many who returned to Clifford Park to relive the moment. And then there are those who look forward to the future.
I don't fly and I don't go on the internet.
Exhilarating.
Right, I need us.
It gave me a sense of pride that I had never felt before in my entire life.
We sang the Bahamian anthem for the first time, and I'm just really proud to be back home to experience this with the Bahamas today.
We've been through a lot of things as Bahamians, and to see our country grow and we move forward together as one people is very exciting. To see the cultural display and just the patriotism of Bahamians tonight is very encouraging.
And as the journey continues, Bahamians leave these 40th independence anniversary celebrations here on Clifford Park with a renewed sense of pride, purpose, and patriotism. Andrew Knowles, ZNS Network News.
Well, the People's Independence Rush was a major observance which also took place this morning in celebration of independence. Bahamians rang in the Independence Morning with the country's major cultural event led by the Junkanoo Development Association. The 14th annual People's Rush also was an opportunity to honor sponsors who have helped sustain the event over the years. The highlight, however, was the presentation of the coveted blazer, and this year's sole awardee was Prime Minister Perry Christie, who remembered being pulled along in the valley by Junkanoo leader Gus Cooper.
After about 2 years on Bay Street, I was clearly the best dancer on Bay Street. I just want you all to know that John Bull was then the Nassau shop. And when the Valley Boys got to the Nassau shop, I got on my toes. And I came down just I passed the square. There was just nobody to match me. So when I saw Wooler and Gus dancing, I knew that they needed me back. So I asked the leader of the opposition who rushes for the Saxon and my minister of culture who rushes for the Saxon, I asked them if they're going to rush for the Saxons this year. Yes. And they said yes. So I declared, and I now declare in the public square, that I am coming out with the Valley Boys at Christmas. I am going to dance from John Bull to Rawson Square. And I am going to be truly representing the group.
Independence celebrations continue today over at police headquarters, where a special reception was held for police officers and government officials. Those who played a special part in the first independence celebrations were also recognized. Our Janaea Noel Ferguson was there.
Policemen like Avery Ferguson, Keith Mason, Irvin Taylor, Alfred Williams, Edmund Lewis, Paul Farquharson, Charles Fernander, and others all rang out today at the Independence celebrations hosted by Police Commissioner Alison Greenslade. The policemen all played a part 40 years ago on July 10, 1973, and today their pictures are on display at police headquarters. Several of them were also present for the event. It served as a reminder that although they may not have grabbed national headlines, they all played a part in our independence celebration.
It is my sincere hope that as we move into another 40 years, we will combine our love for our fair land and its people into a force that will say no to all of the evils of the modern world.
His Excellency Sir Arthur Folkes reminded those in attendance that the independence celebrations did not begin on July 10, 1973, and many unsung heroes played a part without recognition or thanks to our independence. The success of our democracy, he says, is evidence of that.
And we have had four changes of government in this little country that went smooth as silk.
He also commended the uniformed branches for protecting our peace and tranquility, and most importantly, he said, protecting our Constitution. And as we look forward to another 40 years as an independent nation, Sir Arthur charged attendees to go back to basics that made the Bahamas so great.
Civility, good manners. That used to be a hallmark of Bahamians. People came to the Bahamas not only for sun, sand, and sea, but also because they found the Bahamian personality so attractive. We were mannerly, kind to one another, generous, welcoming of visitors.
Wishing you a happy independence, I'm Janaea Noel Ferguson, ZNS Network News.
Prime Minister Perry Christie delivered his independence message today, calling on Bahamians to harness their own patriotism, belief in ourselves, our own intellectual resources, our own sense of optimism and destiny. The Prime Minister said the journey now continues in the quest for a brighter and better tomorrow.
It is therefore fitting that we should celebrate this achievement, giving thanks to God for having brought us this far, while at the same time recommitting ourselves to the many challenges that confront our future progress. It is, after all, the future that lies before. It is to the future, therefore, that we need to direct our focus and order our steps.
In our first look at weather, Tropical Storm Chantal holds on for dear life, and we have that mid-level trough is now moving towards the west and out of the way. But outside of our studios just now, we have Chantal, as you can see, moving towards the north and then northwest, but we have partly cloudy skies. Our temperature 81 degrees, relative humidity 63%, winds out of the southeast at 6 knots, your barometric pressure 1,018.7 millibars. That translates to 30.08 inches, and it is steady. But stay tuned, temperatures around the Family Islands, travel and boating forecast is still to come.
Well, still ahead tonight, the legacy Arawak Homes is helping to build. And what two agreements between the Bahamas and U.S. will mean for the maritime industry. You're watching The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by Shell Helix Ultra. Performance you can see.